Welcome to Being Humans. We're better together. I'm Ian Christopher Wendt. Expertise is extremely valuable, necessary even in a wide range of human endeavors. Want to build a better microprocessor? Hire yourself a fleet of electrical and computer engineers. Want to pay the taxes you owe and not a penny more? Hire an accountant. Want to understand the ways hegemonic imperial state power has shaped the discourses of post-colonial nations? Hire a professor of non-Western English literatures. Or don't. We need experts to accomplish many of our advanced goals, to gather, sift, and organize new knowledge, to apply basic research in order to engineer new possibilities, to better understand the physical and human worlds we live in. Experts are well trained in narrow specialties that enable them to do original, creative things. Expertise is often accompanied by experience, commitment, and dedication. But there are limits to the utility of experts. Experts can be elitist and authoritarian. Experts can be bought. Experts can be biased and ideological. Experts can be as foolish and fallible as anyone else. Experts can bludgeon dissent and frighten regular people into obedience. Experts and expertise can be a two-edged sword, particularly in the realm of civil society. We need experts for many things, but we cannot surrender to experts our opportunities, our responsibilities to engage the world as intelligent, passionate, informed citizens and community members of the social fabric. Let me begin by admitting that I am an expert of sorts. I'm a historian with a PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is an excellent school and history program. My fields of expertise are South Asian history or India, the Muslim world in Asia, and the economic and social history of the world between 1500 and 1800, particularly the trading world of the Indian Ocean. I can read 3 languages. I've lived, studied, researched, and taught in universities and archives in India, Western Europe, and across the United States. I was a full-time assistant professor at Washington State University, Moravian University, Albright College, and Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania. I also worked for the Educational Testing Service for almost a decade as a test developer and assessment specialist, where I wrote and assembled advanced placement tests, SAT subject tests, questions for NAEP, the nation's report card, and teacher licensure exams. I also taught dozens of courses as an adjunct at community colleges, liberal arts colleges, state universities, and an Ivy League university. If you're not a scholar, that list might seem impressive to you. If you have much experience in academia, you know that it means that I never got tenure, bounced from school to school. My career has been modestly successful and reflects the experience of a lot of higher education workers who don't manage to hold a permanent position at a college or university. When people have asked me over the years what I do for a living, I've told them that I was a teacher and that I made standardized tests. Anyone who knows me will, I hope, concur that I have not been status-oriented. I'm grateful for my opportunities to teach history and other social sciences to thousands of students. I've been honored to help millions of students get college credit for AP History and Human Geography. So that's where I'm coming from. I know experts and the limits of expertise. Experts and expertise are built on 2 foundations. First, depth of knowledge about something very specific and usually quite narrow. Ask a PhD candidate at a university sometime to tell you about their research. Many of them struggle to do it in a way that you can find relevant or comprehensible, or in a reasonable amount of time that can hold your attention. Earning a doctoral degree in law or medicine or research requires a certain amount of intelligence, but it mostly requires consistent work and a willingness to not earn money for years at a time while you extend your education and accumulate debt. Intelligence is actually not primarily about any inborn trait. Intelligence is gained and developed through consistent work in a specific field or labor. Becoming an expert is a marathon, Many don't finish the marathon, and the marathon does not always produce a lot of money. This is partially why a lot of experts aren't capitalists. Second, expertise is built on accreditation and institutional authority. Experts almost always have multiple degrees, academic appointments, job titles, scholarships, fellowships, awards, and publications. Experts are minutely aware of the subtle differences of status and authority that attaches to the rank of their degrees, job positions, institutions, titles, and publications. This isn't unique. Corporate and state institutions are also very rank and status oriented. Managers love to tell you how many people report to them on their team. And all government workers, from the military to federal departments to local municipal union workers, know what their job title means in relation to others. Most experts are solid institutionalists. They support and believe in the institutions that award them degrees, pay their salaries, grant them funds for research, and publish their findings. Many of them are statists with government jobs who believe in the ability of the state to make society and people's lives better. Experts cultivate authority. Their degrees, their awards, their publications, their experience all demonstrate and elevate their authority. We listen to them and trust them and pay them because they speak authoritatively about things that we are not sure about ourselves. But many experts extend their authority far beyond their fields of expert knowledge and experience. Expertise can be a club to bludgeon dissent. It can be a shield against criticism. It can be a muzzle to silence debate and create apathy. In addition, experts are far from objective. To the contrary, they are often highly ideological, or at least they make strong arguments. Undue deference to experts can lead to a kind of tyranny. Experts hold strong ideological positions. They are not objective, and few of them would claim to be if you asked them. If an expert asserts objectivity, they're probably using their authority to try to convince you of a powerful piece of ideology. Experts are often ideological precisely because they are experts. Why would you dedicate 3 or 5 or 8 years to gaining a doctoral degree on some narrow field or issue if you weren't passionate about it to begin with? It often isn't for the money, because there are easier ways to make a buck. It is because they care a great deal. They cared when they started their training, and their subsequent research, practice, and experience make them more passionately dedicated. But sometimes experts use their expert status to shield their ideology. When the distinguished professor of biophysics speaks passionately about the influence of greenhouse gases on ocean temperatures, remember that she cared deeply about environmentalism long before she began graduate school, and all of her degrees, federal research grants, field studies, and teaching seminars have strengthened that ideological resolve. None of that makes her assertions necessarily false. It just recognizes her ideological position. Many experts can be stubborn and uncompromising. Science and academia value flexibility, tolerance, and the willingness to alter conclusions upon seeing new data. But experts know a lot of stuff. Their worldviews are complex, sophisticated, and mature. And as noted above, they're passionate believers in their philosophical and ideological systems. They are unwilling to bend without much convincing. These guys aren't sophomores discovering themselves and their worldview anew. These are doctors who figured it out. This is why debates over minute disagreements between experts within a field are often so angry and acrimonious. When challenged, they sometimes make the mistake of shielding themselves behind expertise or office, rather than engaging in discussion or debate. In our modern egalitarian world, few people understand hierarchy better than experts. The assistant professor challenges the chair or dean at their peril. The lawyer does not attack the judge. If the Senate staff member attacks a cabinet member, they'd better do it anonymously. The most natural response to criticism is to question the credentials, publications, experience, or office of the critic. And experts' critics aren't good scientists. They're outside the scientific consensus. They haven't seen the evidence or the classified documents. They don't understand the theory. What then follows is often an incomprehensible, jargon-laden defense of their position meant to subdue the poor sophomore who dared cross the doctor's path. In this manner, expertise is used to limit discussion and dissent. It serves to make non-experts insecure, silent, obedient, and eventually apathetic or uncaring. There are some basic limits to expertise. First, experts are often banal or obvious. Did you really need an expert with a federal grant to tell you that lack of sleep makes driving more dangerous? How many different committees need to reshape the food pyramid, and they still can't agree on what your mother knew very well? Eat your vegetables and then go out and play. Clearly, not all expert conclusions are obvious, but many an expensive lab has been funded to document the obvious. Second, and more troubling, experts are often used to substantiate as truths claims that are highly contested. One expert says, zero-tolerance law enforcement leads to lower crime rates and increases public safety in minority neighborhoods. Another expert says, strict law enforcement is a form of institutional racism that oppresses minority communities and perpetuates systems of power. Well, you may or may not agree with either assertion, and it doesn't make one bit of difference which experts assert it. Both assertions are contested. In both cases, as a citizen in civil society, you need to draw your own conclusions. Next, expertise by its very nature is limiting. Experts devote themselves to something specific and narrow. You cannot possibly be an expert of very much. That doesn't stop some experts from asserting that they can speak authoritatively about whatever they want, but they are actually only experts of a narrow field. Civil society requires that all people, whether they're experts of some narrow thing or not, must engage a broad array of issues. I happen to be an expert of a narrow historical field, but I believe passionately that we all ought to be engaged and speak and be heard across the full array of issues that shape our particular worlds. When I strive to engage in public debates on social or political issues, no one need care what degrees I have. I speak as a person engaged in civil discourse. The broad field of civil society should not be tilted in favor of experts with degrees, offices, or narrow expertise. Most importantly, expertise and degrees do not confer wisdom, ethics, responsibility, morality, or philanthropy. Experts are human, just like you. Experts can be proud, elitist, and condescending. As noted above, they can resort to ad hominem attacks when challenged. They are often biased. Fundamentally, their expertise does not give them the hidden answers to difficult problems regarding where society ought to place its priorities, or how tax dollars should be spent, or for whom you should vote. Their ideas, ideals, or ideological positions may be compelling, useful, effective, or foolish, narrow-minded, and counterproductive. But their status as an expert has no influence on any of that. Within the context of civil society, judge them by the quality of their ideas, no more, no less. There are also some very basic things that experts cannot do. 1, experts cannot predict the future. They just can't. An expert who claims to predict the future, whether they're a biologist, an economist, or a historian, is a charlatan. 2, experts cannot direct your principled moral decisions on public policy issues. You, as a citizen of your community and nation, bear that responsibility yourself. 3, experts cannot and never will form the substance and character of civil society. Functional civil society must be constituted by the broadest possible array of dedicated, engaged, principled, informed citizens, and we should all strive to be so. Complex problems and opportunities require the engagement and commitment of a knowledgeable, responsible civil society. We must be willing to examine and evaluate many positions. We must be willing to debate, to disagree, and eventually to compromise. Experts are often useful to this process, but they should not dominate it, and we cannot apathetically surrender the process to experts. A large, diverse, engaged body of citizens is more valuable than any number of experts. Our societies need the combined wisdom, energy, interest, and passion of multitudes. We are living through a time of cultural conflict and constant political campaigning. At Being Humans Together, we will not focus on that. There are too many very intelligent, talented people arguing about every part of those debates every day. Really, there are too many of them. And I also spent too much time reading, listening, and watching them. The conclusion here is this: whether the issue is the climate of the planet, the level of government spending or taxation on any issue, public health in times of disease or otherwise, or international conflicts, listen to experts with different perspectives. Listen to intelligent, well-reasoned arguments by commentators with different perspectives. Listen to your friends and family members' perspectives. Express your own considered ideas, ideals, and hierarchy of priorities. Don't listen to anyone, especially an expert, who wants to silence you or the people you disagree with either. Many of the expert orthodoxies eventually turn out to be partially effective at best, and sometimes wrong. And sometimes they are bald lies to maintain institutional and state power. I'm not even going to mention COVID. And try not to silence anyone else. Respect your own intelligence, experience, knowledge, values, and relationships to guide you forward wisely. And please, please, value your friendships and family relationships more highly than your ideologies. Remember, even in the heat of the moment, that those you disagree with also have good principles and values, probably many of the same principles that you have. They just prioritize them differently. As we'll discuss in our next series of episodes, relational knowledge is the most valuable knowledge, more valuable than career, ideology, or expertise. Please don't cut people out of your core circles because they prioritize good things differently than you do, especially politics. Never let an expert or their ideologies disrupt your relationships. Meaningful experiences are built on natural human resonance to laughter, music, conversation, food and drink and hospitality, cooperative and competitive play and work. Conscious life is a deeply symbolic dance. Try to avoid getting so lost in your preferred symbols or ideas that you forget who your core friends, family, and relationships are. Your political leaders don't love you. Your favorite pundits don't know you. Your parents know you and love you. They may be really imperfect, but they sacrificed a lot of hard work and love to help you make your way in the world. And even when they fell short, they tried. And when you fall short, they're hopefully still happy to be with you. Try to apply this to all of your loved ones. Our primary goal here is to help perceive and understand the way things actually are, and to encourage all of us to connect, participate, and experience life more fully and meaningfully. Thank you for sharing your precious time. Please share, comment, subscribe, like, and connect with our community. Amen, amen. This is the way of being humans together.